Good to go.
Okay, so we're going to start. Welcome everyone to the 2026 Topanga Town Council meeting. Thank you everyone for coming. Today's focus will be on the road. I don't think the batteries, we're going to get that fixed. Meanwhile, I'll keep talking in my naturally loud voice. Today's focus will be the road. We're getting an in-person update from John at the undergrounding manager at SCE, and we will also be hearing from a team of CalTrans employees and professionals, Katie Mason, CIO, Sharif Boutros, the engineering, senior something important, very engineering oriented. We also have June here, can tell us the title, but a bunch of people who know what's going on in CalTrans can give you the scoop on what's happening. Okay, most of this is now working. We'll also get an update for our first responder, sheriff's department, and we will get a preview of the new events and facilities ordinance coming down the pike from LA County. So now it's working. All right, so let's get started. And to first responders, we have a report from CHP, which I will read subsequently. Cody was not able to join us. And the fire department has a headquarters meeting and they were unable to join us. Okay, we do have the sheriff's department, so without further ado, Deputy Baldy.
Good evening, everyone. Deputy Rick Baldy, Boston Sheriff Station. I'm going to give you your crime report for the month of January. For the month of January, you had 2 total Part 1 crimes, 1 residential and 1 vehicle burglary. Puts you at 2 total, and that's down 60% in time this year, which you had 5 total. We'll go over the residential burglary. Of the 1900 block of Topanga Canyon. It's a rental property and it was vacant, and we were searching for a little over a month. When the owner came back, she found 2 people in the house that could be possibly squatting and using the so that's where that came in. When she confronted them, they took 5 bags and left. More of a squatting situation than a burglary. So that's kind of all I have on the crime part. A couple of things I do want to go over. We do have a tentative date for the evacuation drill, April 18th. It's some planning phases, but right now we're planning on doing evacuation of zones 1, 3, and 4. We meet at the Topanga school to check in and have a little kind of emergency disaster for that. And then May 2nd is our open house at the station where we'll have all our special teams, open up the jail, let the kids walk around, see our minis, our therapy dogs, so.
What day is that? May 2nd?
Yes.
That's really cool. Like a jail open house?
Yeah.
Oh.
The whole station too.
Oh, it's good to watch that.
Yeah. Just kind of see behind the scenes, and hopefully our helicopter, they try to come, but depending on the weather and stuff like that, it will. But with that, I'll take any questions.
Any questions for Deputy Baldy?
Yeah, I have a question. In regards to drones, has either you may have been by the department, but certainly from the sheriff's department, have you guys been using drones at night in Topanga?
The only way we use drones is in search and rescue operations right now.
That's it.
We have not gotten approved for like searching for suspects or anything like that. Just emergency search and rescue operations.
So who's flying drones without private people? It could be the fire department.
It could be fire. I think SCE may use them to check out.
No, nighttime.
Nighttime. No, I don't know. Could be fire.
During the day.
Yeah.
It's the daytime, right? Yeah. Well, there are drones flying at night. That's what I'm going on for a while.
Regularly?
So, yeah, every night.
Yeah.
Every night.
Up and down the canyon.
Up and down Old Topanga, for sure.
We have to jump through hoops to deploy our drone.
Do you happen to know who might be doing that? I mean, you could ask KA, but are that the drugs?
Talk to Drew and ask him.
Yeah, and then there's the KA, but they may or may not have to report. Right? They may not subject to.
I mean, with you have to, if it's over a certain size, you have to register, but you can't see any of the numbers or anything, you're not gonna know who it is, but I know like private security companies use them. And they have different rules than us, so it could be a private security company in the area flying them for somebody maybe.
Yeah, find out, but if we can't, that seems like something we might want to push for some sort of regulation, that we don't do the heck that's flying around.
Well, I would just like to know who's flying on over Old Topanga for sure. And if it's happening on Old Topanga, it's got to be happening on the boulevard. They go down and they come back
But
up.
how can they do it?
Huh?
Right, it's a privacy issue, it's potentially.
I thought the reason they would, if it is the fire department, I thought the reason they were doing was to make sure that people are not going up on summit to summit and things like that, or wanting to start fires. Things like that.
That would be, yeah, definitely ask, that would be a
Yeah.
wild
Okay.
news, but still, they should be public about it.
Find out.
Any other questions? Well, that was really good information. All right, so Drew, even though he was just so crestfallen and couldn't make it, could not come tonight, he had a prior engagement. I've made it a little harder for our first responders by switching to the third Wednesday of the month instead of the second Wednesday, but most of the time the fire department can make that. DHP, on the other hand, is having a much harder time. So Cody's going to try to reorient his schedule. However, this month he has sent me, he wasn't able to make it, but he sent me a report, so I will read it. It's a year-over-year look at January. Okay. For January of 2026, there were a total of 7 reported crashes in Topanga. 6 of the crashes were property damage only, and 1 of the crashes, oh my goodness, had injuries. Okay. 3 of the crashes involved hit and run drivers. And there was 1 DUI related crash. There were no fatal crashes, so that's a plus. And the cause of the crash, unsafe turning movements, failure to yield, suddenly stopping, and unsafe backing up. All right. So that's the report this month. And I guess if you have any questions, you can email them to Cody. And if you don't have his email address, I can send it to you, share it with you. But that's it for CHP, which means that we can move on to our first focus item of the night. And we have a lot more time for it. And that would be roads. Okay, so with SCE and CalTrans, if you guys want to start, maybe each of you give a bit of a presentation, and then maybe kind of intermix depending on the questions, however you want to do it, whoever wants to go first, but I'll pass the microphone down. John, you want to go? All right. Give this to you, John. All right, so we're starting with John Abbott of SCE. He is the project manager for Underrabbit.
Hello. I'm going to tell you the status of Topanga Canyon Boulevard is we have 2 vaults left to set, which are both just north of the library here. And our trenching is all the way to Entrada. And we have a vault that is just north of the town center outside. It's about 1,500 feet more of trenching, and they do somewhere between 300 to 400 feet a day if things are going well. Then the other subjects that have to be done, you probably see if you drive the board here, you'll see trenching that goes to the center line, but then it doesn't continue across the street. So every one of those we have to take across the street. So if that helps when you're driving and you see it stops on the center line, we still have to complete the other side. So there's 20 plus of those, but they can generally, and I think this week's schedule, even though they haven't worked because of the rain, had 2 of those that they were working on. And I would imagine their schedules are probably going to incorporate 4 or 5 of those a day once they get done with the vaults and stuff. The thing I did find out yesterday's meeting is the electrical crews are coming back starting Sunday night, this coming Sunday night for 2 weeks. Sunday night, Monday night, Tuesday night, Wednesday night, Thursday night, Friday nights. Roughly, they said 10 hours, but they kind of said probably closer to 7 So they'll probably be off the road by like 4 in the morning, depending on what they're doing. But what they're doing is from Happy Trail to Fontaine is basically done. And then Fontaine to High Vale is basically done. So they're able to pull cable, get the vaults ready, get equipment in the vaults, and get it all prepped. So when they can have the outages to convert from overhead to underground. So simultaneously, so when it comes time and civil is done, we should be able to energize the underground and de-energize the overhead really quickly.
What does really quickly mean?
I would say probably within a couple weeks. And that work will all be done at night.
So we energize during the day?
No, they energize at night.
Okay, totally confused. So how will this impact people in terms of losing power?
There will be outages, and as of right now, what I learned yesterday is there's no outages scheduled. That could change next week to where I'm guessing there's probably going to be some outages in March. But I would encourage your residents that when you get a notice, if I can get that notice, because I try to get it from Edison, and typically I get it from the residents faster than I get it from Edison because I'm not on that mailing list to get it. So if you get a notice, let me know and I can research what they're doing. And that kind of goes, I know you brought up the other day, Carrie, there is no program to work outside of what we're doing on the boulevard, but there is work. So you got rock power, changing out poles, you got transformer change out, you got maintenance stuff going on. And I'm still working, I know I've been working for months to get, I don't have I don't have access to a lot of the stuff. So I'm working with two guys to give me a 14-day look ahead as far as power outages go. And then I can find the Bacasa circuit, which is the boulevard, and the Paradise, which is Old Topanga. So I can find those and see if there's outages 14 days ahead of time. But you guys probably get those notices before that.
Okay.
72 hours by the
72 hours.
PUC.
Okay. But you're trying to get us the information well in advance. And
Right.
then will there be an additional, so say we get it 2 weeks in advance, will there then be an additional notification right before?
Yeah, if you signed up, you have to sign up on SCE.com to get emails, text messages, and they'll even email you if they're rescheduling it. They'll text you all that information right up to the time. I think Todd went through it a few times in the last cutover. So his information to me was vital to knowing what we were doing. But we do have a weekly meeting. Sometimes it gets canceled, but where those subjects are brought up, and that's where I can learn from it too. And I always ask those questions.
Well, they're working the 7 to 10 hour shift.
Right. Yeah. Any outage that happens during the day is either rock power, like a separate contractor unrelated to the boulevard, or an emergency.
And I'm not sure quite how to ask this question. So you're overseeing the undergrounding project, right? And then you've referred to rock power a few times, and I feel like I've seen that earlier. So they're under the direct purview of SCE, but SCE considers it all sort of part of the undergrounding, but yet you don't have responsibility for that, but yet you get blamed. Right? That's how it looks to me.
Well, the district, Thousand Oaks District, which has this area, Malibu, Calabasas, I mean, it's a big territory. So they have work, just regular work that they do day in and day out. That or might see Wilson Electric or Wilson Construction, but I think Rock Power is pretty much designated to Topanga. As far as my responsibility, you guys are my number one customer. This is what I mean, when you send emails or whatever, I try to get to the bottom of everything. But I do have other responsibilities. I deal with CalTrans a lot. They've been a great partner on Topanga. They've been a great partner on PCH. Hopefully by April, that partnership, not in a bad way, but we probably won't be dealing with each other too much because Old Topanga is not their jurisdiction. But they've been great to work with. Katie and I and Elizabeth and Nathan and Vladimir. I mean, we talk a lot. Especially when we get something from the community, we both dive into trying to find out if it's us or them, not to point fingers, but just to get an answer. So it's been really good. And I know we've had our hiccups, but I really think for as much work as that we've done, it's been pretty minimal. I mean, there's been a couple really bad days. I get that, but it's.
However, you and Katie, I couldn't ask for a better team to really try to get to the bottom of it and try to be as upfront as possible. So thank you. It really, I don't say that, but I won't say that again. Okay, go ahead, James and Roger.
Go ahead, James. So just want to say, Rock Power is the subcontractor for SCE, and they've been dealing primarily with the power pole placements that is ongoing. But also that Edison's pretty good about notification when the power goes down, but I think most of us have the experience that you get a lot of notifications saying the power is going down. Not you get notifications saying that the power will go down and you do not get over percentages, but a lot of notifications.
Not always accurate.
60%, 70% online.
Yeah, that's really good intel. So it's this polar place, thank you, the Rock Power, so I was gonna say, based on what you say, it sounds like you're sort of routine, but it's different kind of maintenance, but yeah, it seems to all be related to the poles, the energized.
The helicopters that are bringing.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe they're the drone.
Yeah, so when Rock Power has an outage, right, your community members, whoever's impacted by that outage should be notified. I'm not gonna know that unless I get this report. Then I'd have a heads up that it's coming and what they're doing.
It does seem like, though, based on what Jake said, people do get a lot of notifications. They're only like 60 or 70% accurate. So not that it's not your responsibility, but since you do talk to SCE sometimes, F2E, it would be helpful if you could let them know there would be some adequate improvement on the notification accuracy.
Yeah, when I retired in 23 was just before I retired, they went to a new notification system, relatively new, and it was horrible. And we have another mechanism for every transformer. Our records show who is fed off of that transformer. So if a controlman has to de-energize something, we know, hey, there's 6 people that are going to be out of power. That system got updated. So we would be giving notifications, say hypothetically, but really, somebody in Antelope Valley saying your power is going to be out, but it's really somebody in Topanga because the system. So in the past 2.5 years, that 70% is quite an improvement to where it started. And as you get more information back about things not being accurate, I strongly suggest you go on to the website and provide your feedback. I don't know how much of an option that is. I've never gotten those notices, but I do take it back. Is if you guys go, that's if you look at what I've said in some of the emails, if you get notified and your power does not go out, we need to know so we can fix that record.
Yeah.
And if your power goes out and you weren't notified, we need to know that too. So we can make the changes.
All right.
If I just read it,
Okay, yeah.
that on the 23rd to the 27th, with power placements, and I only learned this on the different site, road closures, they're closing the boulevard. I should say they're closing Old Canyon from the boulevard to Red Rock for power pole replacement. Obviously, when the power poles will be replaced at some point, the energy's going down. Antonita contacted me, and that's my first one about it, because they're concerned about that closure. And I contacted Edison to try to figure out exactly what they're doing. But of course, there's going to be power outages happening starting Monday. So far, it must be because of the power pole replacements, but we've not heard anything about it or about the road closure ancillary through public works side.
So will you be able to provide more clarity?
Yeah, I'll do.
That would be,
23rd, 23, 27.
yeah, you're,
Each day there's that.
There's a road closure. We haven't heard anything about outages yet. We know that there's a road closure as per the DWP website from Topanga Canyon Boulevard, on Old Canyon, from Topanga Canyon Boulevard, Red Rock. Or power pole replacement. Closure, road closure, or one way? Road closure. I just trying to find that.
Yeah, you need to look at that, John.
MTC. Right now it says road closure.
Yeah, because when we close a road in LA County, we have to get the CHP, sheriff, and fire department signatures to do that. Now, if Rock Power would do that, obviously I wouldn't do that, but, so I will look into it and find out what they're doing, and is it a road closure or just a lane closure? Sometimes they get confused.
that would be terrific. As soon as like the next couple of days, if you could get us that info, that would be great, because people are getting nervous about that.
Before we get more questions, John, Apple, can I ask you and all our speakers, could you stand for our virtual audience to see?
So they're not able to, they actually really want to see you.
Stacy,
You know,
Oh, Roger and Steve.
yeah, just so that everybody knows, that's how I originally met John. John was the one that was interfacing with us in regards to the replacement of power poles. That's a number of years ago, and I didn't. You know, it's funny because I didn't know that. I thought all the thing was finished. Obviously.
Yeah.
It's never finished.
So you'll find out.
Never
You'll
finished.
you'll find out.
If they're underground, I mean, you wonder why we're doing so many pole replacements.
Well, the
Yeah.
time frame to underground, the liability of a pole that could be rotten, fall over, start a fire, yada, yada.
The big L.
It is a little curious, yeah, but interesting, okay.
But we had, our power, my neighborhood, our power was out today.
Oh, God.
So,
All right,
I did see a Rock Power crew.
Yeah.
In Topanga today.
yeah,
I don't know what they were doing.
Based on the trench work that's remaining and process, how many more days?
Well, before this rain,
okay, just-
we anticipated being done March 31st, by the end of March, completely done. But now with loss of days, it's probably gonna push into April.
so.
Go ahead, Jack.
And keep in mind also that even though the SCE, whenever they finish. Good old CalTrans has to come back and they have to repave.
Right. And
So they're gonna repave the,
No.
repaving will happen at night.
Okay.
And they're slated right now, Caltrans, through my conversations with them, is May 4th to start. That's the tentative start date to repave. So we have to be done by that time frame.
May 4th is the repaving, where Caltrans is coming in at night and doing, okay, that's
What
good.
they told me is their tentative date.
So last week, I drove my car 3 days. Of 2 of the 3 days, I was stuck once before the S curve and once right in town here between 3 and 4 for a half hour.
Heading north or heading north or south?
Yeah, and I'm thinking here, I mean, I don't know what the routine, but again, that's like 3 to 6 is people coming home from work. And, is there a way to like keep traffic, 10 minutes, reasonable, a half hour?
Yeah, and every time I hear that, I do push that to them to think about it. There are some things that do happen that just take longer, like setting bolts. There's only 2 left. I don't think they were setting bolts on that day because I asked that question. But we did dig into the electrical line that fed the flashing yellow light at the school. And there was some repairs that needed to be made on that. So I don't know exactly what was going on. A lot of times when I ask, it's like, well, we weren't doing anything out of the norm. They did send me a video one morning where people were saying it was really backed up before 8:30 and traffic was atrocious. atrocious, and we weren't on the road, and even the worker goes, we haven't started putting any cones out, and there was just cars lined up. So,
Yeah,
I mean, it's,
it's the, 6 to 9, going to PCH, 3 to 6, coming up. I mean, again, the other days I ride my bike, so the guys gate, and they say like they're very consciously aware of in the morning, they allow more time for the down traffic.
right.
And in the afternoon, more time for the up traffic.
And we were doing that, I assume we still are.
Okay,
but,
well, I'm just saying, 2
right.
out of 3 days.
Right.
Do you have any online questions? Anybody have any questions for
John, this ends in April, to get a true break.
Well, as far as Topanga Canyon Boulevard goes, yes, we won't be out there. No. But Old Topanga is coming next.
So we,
So how long is the old Topanga expected to last? It is expected to go through 2020. Like the contractors, we have to speak to them on the ground, and they're saying, how long will you guys be here? And I'm like, oh, we're going to be here through spring 2027, and people understandably freaked out. So what is that referring to the old canyon for?
Yeah. So the Old Canyon right now, the tentative start date on some of the work is August of this year. Some of the work starts in June of next year. But that's all, it's a big machine, but the goal is to get all of it done in the between this year and next year.
In the next 3 years.
But this gets,
Yeah.
I'll just stay there. Say it again.
Understanding, okay, well, that's the name over.
Correct.
There is no break.
But I mean, simpleness to me is like if we're working up north and that we're working up north on Old Topanga, that you would go south and get on TCB and then go north.
Sure, but it's
Or-
backing up, back up to the wall to.
Are we planning to have sort of helping?
So,
Okay.
I don't know if it'll be the same company because once this TCB is done, we have certain contractors that do this area. For this fire rebuild, we hired one contractor, so there's continuity through all of the projects in traffic control, instead of having 6 different traffic control companies.
In regards to Old Topanga, John and I met this morning, and we're gonna get together again on Saturday morning as well. And we're gonna drive Old Topanga because it's not just Old Topanga. It is all the side roads. It's Skyline, it's Valley, it's Oak, it's all of the streets in Old Topanga that will be affected. So the bad news is they're gonna get, because I live on Old Topanga, we're gonna get affected. That's the bad news. The good news is that there won't be any traffic coming in from Calabasas because they'll all be coming this way on the boulevard now, as opposed to cutting through on a less
And
traffic.
to Roger's
less
point is
rate.
we're trying to get ahead of that. Like I said, right now it's tentatively slated for August of this year to start something on that project. But one of the northern, Dry Canyon, Cold Creek,
Yeah, that which
that's
is on the
all being
Calabasas
underground,
side.
which is on the Calabasas side, and then some of the off street. So what I try to do for the community is I try to make sense of how we're going about the work instead of blitzing it all and having traffic all over the place messed up. Is let's try to make some type of rational decision.
I'm going to arrange a meeting for Old Topanga on March 21st. So Saturday, March 21st, we're going to be meeting at the church here, the Topanga Fellowship Church, to discuss the Old Topanga project.
Great. So on that, just getting ahead of it a little bit, I would just encourage you, like you've done here, to be mindful of the rush hour, traffic time, the school, and additional school hours within that. And then we have certain schools, specialty schools like dance, they're on the old Canyon area.
I'll go see them tomorrow.
They will definitely have a lot to say about.
Yeah, and I think just like we did, I think this thing might be going, but just like we did on the boulevard was find out those nuances, like theatrical. We got all their dates. Great thing was that we didn't impact them at all because we weren't there when they needed us. We weren't in their way. I think it was batteries.
It's probably start and then James plugged in. I'm sure we'll get all of the state covered. All right, and also, sorry, just because you're not doing work right in front of that business doesn't mean that they're not impacted by the stop just for they are. All right, we have a bit of a chat question. It's a little maybe on the negative.
So, I would like, this is for those that hello, just asking if John would address attitudes of subcontracted road crews. Should also use my interaction. It feels they don't care about it.
I will address that.
That's also another one, if the closures at night, when it's closed from midnight to 5 a.m. Coming up from the garden, they're, even though there's people coming down, it's 11:57 and they won't let 8 cars that are backed up to go up.
That's for them.
Right. All right.
It's a good segue, right?
I mean, I would like, so John, I would like to say, I mean, I've interacted with the crew. I'm over up Topanga Skyline. And I found them to be very polite.
Very polite or
Yeah, very polite. Yeah, and I mean, they ran into a big problem and our power was out way later, but I mean, they were obviously out there and working until they got it fixed. So.
And you had a positive experience?
Yeah.
Oh my God, Kathy!
I thought it was a positive interaction with them. I mean, stuff happens, so.
I think for the most part, I'd like to have bad days or whatever, but I definitely will address that with them.
So I'm glad you're gonna do, because I do want to have an answer from Marissa Capello. On that though, what should somebody do if they do feel like they were treated unfairly, more like they got attitude, asking a question in a non-attitude way?
If they can get a hold of me, I'll find out what's going on.
Do these people have ID? No. Oh God, it's wear a mask.
I don't know what the traffic control companies require their employees to wear or be visible on them, but they could ask for a name.
Let them know that you did tell people that if they want to report. Do you have an email that you want to share or?
Yeah, you can email me. It's J.O. Abbott, my last name, ABBOTT, at ulm.com. ulmservices.com.
So if you feel like you were treated unfairly, after showing respect yourself, now if you're greeting them with attitude, you can expect to get attitude back, even though in an ideal world you wouldn't, right? But if you're coming at them fairly and they treat you unfairly, that's the kind of thing I think that's fine.
Then, can I ask one more question? This is from Scott Weinberg, just on logistics. Is this accurate? Latest so Cal's is electrical undergrounding done by early mid-April. Then CalTrans road rebuilding starts in April at night. Road will be 2 ways again in the day starting in April. Completely done. I think you meant on the main boulevard by mid-May.
Well, CalTrans is going to speak to that part.
Well, I think this is a question.
Yeah, Edison, our target right now is to be done by the end of March with our work, but the rain has pushed that into April.
That's the main board.
The main boulevard. Yeah.
That's right.
And if there's any electrical work that trickles past that, it would all be done in the. If that makes sense.
So theoretically, John, but sorry, then James next, but theoretically, then you close that. April, mid-April, tax day, and August, there will be no extra.
Correct.
If everything goes according to the plan right now.
And we would be done on the boulevard.
Right.
On the
The
boulevard.
boulevard would be done. Right.
Well, we don't, he has not, they haven't determined yet.
Okay.
Well, I got an email with the list of targeted start dates for Old Canyon, which was some of it in August of 2026.
Okay, so.
But
something
that's
may
all
happen.
tentative,
Got it, got it.
and I'll keep you abreast if they try to do it soon.
So it's not close, but not quite, some of it's tentative. James,
Just quickly wanted to comment about the subcontractor attitudes. And we've had them on our road and they damaged the road. It's a private road. We just repaved it, they damaged it. And a couple of guys weren't nice, but the supervisor came over and we have worked with them to get them to. In terms of the person who said that the contractor on the side of the road told them they're gonna be there for years. I just would like to point out that I've heard those conversations and while it may be true, the contractors on site typically don't know grand master plan.
right.
And so it's maybe true that they're gonna be there for years, that there's not many that will be closed for years.
Right.
They may be doing ancillary work on it, and so, yeah, I think that greatest
Yep.
fault, contractor on site, so, 3 years, what that.
Right, very good point. So they're being honest, but it doesn't mean that the work like it is taking place right now is going to be occurring for 3 more years. Very good point. Excellent. Okay, so any more questions for John, or do we want to? John isn't going to work. We're going to bring CalTrans in. Maybe they can add some more color to what else is happening on CTV, their end date and opening date. Yay. All right, meeting Mesa. Is it on? It is, but it doesn't always feel like
I
it.
was dying.
Yeah. Sort of talking to it, you're floating in and out.
All right. Well, my name is Katie Masek. I'm a public information officer at CalTrans and SCE. I'm going to give some updates on Topanga Canyon Blvd. I'm in person with Sharif Botros. He's the office chief of our West LA construction office. And June Kane is the assistant district division chief with program project management. So they're here in person. We also have a few more staff online. So I guess if they chime in for anything, you guys let me know. Yeah, we're watching the chat. So we have Elizabeth Martinez, our construction supervisor. She oversees all of the emergency work on Topanga as well as PCH. And then Pradeepan is the office chief of our geotechnical design team. And we also have our geotechnical services deputy division chief Nina Choi online, I believe. I haven't checked the chat, but they're supposed to be there. And finally, Anna Dermigerditchian, who is our construction manager with construction division. So I'm going to give an overview, and I would ask that you guys save all your questions for the end. And if there's like super technical questions, someone either in this room or online can answer. All right, so we are, despite what you may feel when you're sitting in traffic every day, making excellent progress on the emergency project on Topanga Canyon Blvd. We have dedicated staff members in just about every CalTrans division who have put in countless hours to work on this project, and thanks to them, we are on our way to completing $20 million worth of work, which would typically take about 3 years to do in about 9 months or so of work. So that's pretty impressive from a state's perspective. I know for everyone in this room that it has been more than a year since the fire, and I know that every single moment of those have been precious time to you that we've taken from your highway. So we really appreciate your patience and your flexibility and your proactive communications. I know most of you in this room on a first name basis, and we really appreciate that interaction that we've had with you guys through this process and your patience with me get this work done. Especially during the recent rainstorms, which have been the exact opposite of last year. So I know that work has been difficult when we have to close the road all the way, but it kind of underscores the importance of this work. So our goal with all of this work is once it's complete, once we're done with these safety items and vegetation goes back to burn scar areas, we won't. So I know we've heard from so many of you regarding impacts to traffic, particularly the morning and evening commutes from work and school. We hear you. We are right there with you in your frustrations. And we know that this is vital work that we need to complete to get this road open and safe from future storm and fire damage. But our staff have truly thrown in like tons of extra resources into prioritizing this project. And thanks to that, we are excited to announce tonight that thanks to expedited measures and dedicated efforts from all of those crews and maintenance workers and our staff and engineers, we are tentatively reopening this highway sooner than expected. So at least we are planning to lift the one-lane traffic restriction, that half-mile section, by early March is our goal, give or take a few days. To set us back a little bit, and there is a chance for weather again tomorrow morning. But that's the goal by early March. So our plan is to finish most of the retaining wall work before we open to traffic in the one-way section. And then once we're done with that, we can lift that one-way section during the day and complete installation of the reinforced concrete pipe, because we do still need to do that. So starting in early March, what that's going to look like is from 5 a.m. to 8 p.m. daily, there will be no one-lane traffic control in the CalTrans section from PCH to Great Drive. That'll be open to everyone. From 8 p.m. to midnight, when crews are working, which will likely be daily, schedule's not finalized, but we'll have that one-lane traffic control in place just for those 4 hours, and then we'll keep it closed from midnight to 5 a.m. as it currently is overnight, so we can install the pipe overnight. There is a possibility that we would need to do a few extended weekend closures, 55-hour closures like the one that we did. We're hoping to minimize those as much as possible. We don't have a schedule finalized, but we'll give at least 2 weeks notice. And yeah, and then we will share final plans and an actual expected official opening date when we have that for you guys after the opening. Completion of all of the work is still expected to last through the summer, but we're hopeful that we can start to restore the highway to normal conditions for most of it. So that's the big news. I'll give a couple quick updates. The storms from the beginning of this week, we had some mudslides, as you probably know, but no major damage that we're aware of at this time. And it reopened at noon today. Couple updates on the retaining walls. We're nearly complete with the first one at 2.7, so it's right at the top of the one-way lane traffic control section. We just need to do the Natina staining and the railing for that as well, and then the graffiti coating will be placed after the staining is done. To that, working on the 2.5 retaining wall, we did discover harder than expected conditions while we were drilling. So to account for this, our crews decided to shorten the length of the piles, and instead we're going to get technical. So if you have technical questions, we can take them after. It's called a GRE, or a geosynthetic reinforced embankment. It's basically a form of a retaining wall, but it uses layers of geogrid compacted in soil to create like a mass that can bear heavy loads. There's an example of this on the side of the highway at post mile 2.3, like just before that wall. But basically it'll just look like a bare slope until vegetation. So those are all the updates I have. And then, as was touched upon, the pavement project is scheduled to begin early May, I think, which is the tentative date that we've given. And that will be generally overnight working hours, 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. Roughly, those schedules are subject to change based on weather and other conditions, but we'll provide advanced schedules when we get there. So with that, I and all the crews here can, Gina has something to say.
Yeah, that was a good news. Let me give you a little bit of surprise. We are working with the telecom companies, basically AT&T, Crown Castle, Charter, and Verizon working together to underground their line from PCH to about 1.8 miles between just shy, 27 miles shy of the retaining wall that we are building. Now, the original discussion with the Southern California Edison is to share the same trench. Apparently that didn't pan out. So they are coming with a encroachment permit now. So we are right now coordinating the effort. They already coordinated the effort with Southern California Edison, looking at where they're gonna trench. Most likely, and then they will be coming in and out of the pavement. So it will be close to Edison's trench, but it will be between Edison trench and our edge of the pavement. So I was kind of upset. They did not let us know about this until a couple weeks ago. So we are in a very focused discussion right now. They already submitted their permit package at the end of January. The Supervisor Horvath office is supportive of this. So it's better to underground their line. At least it's not all the way through the Topanga, but it's only 1.8. So their plan right now is start the work after, let's say in March, and complete the work in May. That's their rough schedule. Their schedule right now is from 8 p.m. to 5 a.m. Follow similar schedule of CalTrans. We will have one main traffic control through 2.5, portion on 2.5 for the retaining wall. Right after that, there will be another one main traffic control for their operation. So it will be a double impact.
From 8 p.m.
8 p.m. to midnight. But we are closing from midnight to 5 a.m. So they can do a full throttle, just go ahead and do the work. They are estimating currently 6 to 8 weeks of operation, which means they should be done before paving work. So we are looking at a lot of discussions, and right now we're having a lot of discussions right now with the telecom companies. So we will nail down, and we have to, in order for us to complete before our paving work, we will have to issue the permit no later than by early March. So that's what we're shooting for. But then again, the impact to the traffic will be from 8 p.m. to midnight. They'll get basically double whammy until Southern California SCE work is done. So from beginning of March to possibly sometime in April, there will be 2 one-lane closures. After Southern California SCE is done, then it'll be just for their work. Now, we would like to approve this permit. There's a lot of support for it, but if this does not work out, we will deny the permit, which means they'll have to, think about doing this in the future. But I think it's better. This is the time to do so. So that is one bad news, but I think it is not as bad as it sounds because we are coordinating the work together. We are opening because they're not going to work during the day, which will not be impacting our, we're trying to open the one-way bridge direction. So that's not going to be impacted. So we can only impact.
Why are they doing that? I thought the whole point was they didn't see that there's a charging them if you want to do it.
Yeah, why?
With all this.
Why that particular area too? It is a little bit curious. Do you know if you have any insight into why they're doing that particular? Is it for the PCH thing?
The fire kind of, the fire basically knocked their pole off. So either they have to be erect new ones or underground.
And so they're opting to underground.
Right.
Yeah. Why can't they go concurrently if you're closer at midnight on to the program?
We are.
No,
why the 8 to 12, you're saying?
Yeah,
Why
Eight to
they-
12.
Yeah, why does that have to be the one? Why can't they go
If that,
midnight closer if you work?
if that's the case, then they will not finish.
They're
It will be,
by the May repaving
Right.
project.
I mean, I hear that.
so,
They dropped a bomb on him and he's trying to squeeze it in.
I know you're trying, it's just.
Let me say, I will take the share of the blame for this one in our office, so we asked them to. We had a press conference and Roger will remember there, we've asked the telecommunications companies to underground now while that's work, so that you guys have a hit now and not deal with it again in the future. We want to get this work out of the way as quickly as possible, and the only way for them to get that done currently with the work that SC is doing is to start. I've talked to Verizon, give more support about the node. We are supporting them. So it's crucial work that needs to get done. It's a temporary hurt that we have to deal with right now that will have long-term benefits.
Makes sense. I want to say one thing on that though. My question is, in terms of, right, because June seemed genuinely like he was shocked. So my question is, did Verizon, the telecoms, did they have this opportunity earlier and they just said, oh, we don't feel like it? And just now they're coming sort of, after the deadline and saying,
We got political pressure put on them by our office. We're back from a lot of them. We're saying SCE is doing this work now. Let's get it all done at once so that they don't have to come in one after the other and continue to inconvenience you guys. Like, get it done now while the work is getting done. And they were the first ones to answer. So if you appreciate Verizon doing the work, wish it would have been done sooner, but they're doing it now, which is what happens.
one of the difficult thing was the 4 telecom companies these days share the specs. So,
at least it shows him.
yeah, so 4 telecom companies been kind of arguing and trying to iron this out. So that took a really long time. That's what I heard from them. So they finally agreed on the method, and they are going down, I believe, as deep as 48 inches, micro trenching with a digger, it's about 6 inches wide, and they are basically share for same trench with the full lines. So, I was all over that.
Yeah.
You probably heard from your counterpart, but I think this is a good opportunity. We should do it now rather than.
The fact that it's done by April, we just
We have
never.
a time.
Right.
So the timeline right now is they submitted the permit request, application. We are, if everything falls in line, if the communication and coordination with the construction, and Southern California has is done, we are planned to issue the permit early March. And from our early March to 6 to 8 weeks for that to complete, with a schedule 8 p.m. to 5 a.m. So which means we're at the end of April, we're hoping that will be done.
And this
So-
work can't begin earlier? While we're still having to work closer at midnight, because of what? Because of the permit approval process or because they're not ready? Probably both.
They just submitted it, we are reviewing the permit, we are getting the details from them, we are asking a lot of questions. Because it was such a late, so we are trying to see if it'll work. So I think earliest possible date for us to issue a permit and begin construction for them will be early.
James.
So I have,
Oh, Audrey.
go ahead.
So, yeah, it's probably the best time to do it, absolutely, and the pain will be the least. The unfortunate part is 2 things. We've been on this since 2018 on undergrounding the utility lines. When we were on Edison for undergrounding, we were on to do them together. And so we did this previous supervisor's office, but we've been working on this and we've been begging for this to work together from the get-go, and it hasn't. The other unfortunate part is we're only doing 1.8 miles, and it's the 1.8 at the bottom. So we're like, stay with this, like, it's something in the wind, it seems to me like we're doing here. And that we have another 6 miles or more to go, but it is what it is. It's an opportunity, and we probably shouldn't squander the opportunity. You get 1.8, we'll have to figure again in the future how we're gonna get the other 6 to 8 miles.
So I have a couple of thoughts about it. I have a few thoughts about this. First is, telecommunications surrounding the lines from where to where? That's the first question.
From PCH to 1.1.
That's it.
To 1.8.
Bridge.
Okay. And then what happens after that?
There, folks.
So basically.
That's the scenic highway.
They're on-
Yeah, 1.8 miles is where each.
And it's not a 2-mile bridge, I get it.
So then it goes.
Okay, and then-
Highway, it's back on-
And then, because we know at the 2-mile bridge, from the 2-mile bridge to the time tunnel, SCE is gonna be doing covered connectors. They will not be going
It's already done.
underground.
That's
So
already-
that's the same thing with, okay. And then what happens to the rest of the boulevard?
Stay up.
They stay up.
And that, as far as I can. The original plan was not on the poles, it's set with poles. And they give, just supervisors block it. You sure you want the list? So they changed it. So as far as that's how I.
Okay, so Daniel, you know then, you understand that they're not talking about the whole boulevard. They're only talking about the 2-mile bridge. So they're not talking about the rest of it.
Right.
Yeah, no. And this should also apply now to Old Topanga too.
Right, but we don't control the phone companies. You know, you always ask. But it comes down to their business and our business.
So are we questions for CalTrans now?
And we also have a couple questions in the chat, I think.
When there are these double traffic controls like we've had where there's the CalTrans control and Edison control above, what seems to happen is Edison will release or CalTrans will release the traffic while Edison is stopping the traffic. Are they not on the same channel? What's going to happen down below? They're different agencies not talking to one another, or they share one channel so we all go at the same time?
The whole point of that was exactly like we're saying, they need to coordinate. They will have a walkie-talkies.
On the
They
same
will communicate the same channels. They will be talking. Holding closure point. So our traffic control, it's not gonna be like signal like what we have today. It will be a basically a flagger, basically. So again, this is only from 8 p.m. to midnight. So hopefully they will have to coordinate that word so they don't block open here and then block here. That works better.
So they're only working from 8 to midnight?
8 to 5 a.m.
Okay, okay.
But 8 to midnight is when the traffic control will be.
One question, chat, if there is micro trenching, is it possible to run more trenches?
So as far as, I don't know their operations, but what they have given us is that 6 to 8 weeks with their trenching machine. Some of them will be on the dirt side, and then they will have to kind of come back to the roadway sometimes. So we have to coordinate our construction, also needs to coordinate with them. We gotta make sure that they don't lift you with Southern California roads.
June, another question, chat, I think it's a culture. Eventually collect and remove the tangled old burn cables and wires. That they are screwing, and I see it all the, to that 5 to 2 miles, there's a lot of cable and line. Is that gonna be what this environment?
Yeah, I'm not sure, I guess what we do the road work could be ours, it could be, it might be actually, they might be actually cleaning out as they go. Because they're the one that's cleaning the trenching.
And then one other person asks, like we've had this question, until that area on PCA, which is correct, which I feel like is under easement, but it is constant.
So your mom's so smart.
Yeah, it's a question about how there's.
It's been signed since 1930s.
Yeah.
So,
Yes,
yeah. So right now, CalTrans has initiated the geotechnical studies We had a 2010 study, done in conjunction with the city of LA. We have taken on this time on our own. Evaluate the current situation of the swamp. So we are trying to get the permission from the property owners to build and install some instrumentation so that we can reassess the situation. And we will be doing a preliminary design to how to stabilize that.
The short answer is it's private property easement going out, it's slow.
Correct. It is not within CalTrans right away. It's within the jurisdiction of the city. So, but we are performing that study now. We will be doing a preliminary design to stabilize it. We'll have to work with the city of LA to figure out how to. So.
William,
I have a question. Depending on how far out your work goes, just thinking about the business and events in the canyon, do we have no fly zone on Memorial Day weekend? A no fly zone on Mother's Day for the Topanga businesses, no work, no closures on the weekend, and Easter.
We've been working with you guys on.
Okay.
So absolutely.
those are great requests. Yeah,
Yes,
I
absolutely.
echo that.
We've been working with you for those events, right? So
Thank you.
we will continue to. Okay.
I have a question. When are the codes gonna be picked up out of PCH? Because if there's no work being done with a huge amount of the sector. And it does like impede traffic and that, so what's the status there?
Okay.
Those codes were laid down over a year ago and huge sections.
So as far as I understand, please correct me if I'm wrong. Southern California, I understand, trying to finish up the grounding of the PCH by end of March, the beginning of April.
That's
And
that's north of where the Topanga Canyon, on PCH, like from Topanga Canyon down to Temescal.
There are still 7 active. We are
I'm just gonna work all the
very,
time.
if we're not happy, we're able.
yes. So all the director's order project, the emergency project, the PCH, we are trying to wrap it up by January of 27. However, there's another paving contract we just got funding for, and that's gonna start. That's a repaving, doing the safety improvements. That's a northern section of the PCH.
That's about.
That's a mouth.
Yeah, that's
So it doesn't come down to Topanga, but that's gonna start on the southern portion. Right now is an environmental phase. That's gonna follow the northern portion, so there will be a lot of construction.
And one more question, coordinated, is there any plan to prevent BCH from taking sunset from becoming a free RV park? Is there a plan, before you lift those cones up, is there a plan on how we're gonna prevent RVs?
I think that has to be fixed. State gives a jurisdiction to the local authorities to do the parking. And they do actually they control that. So I think we need to have.
Yeah,
That.
we
definitely-
yeah, I can look into it.
Yeah.
If we have a meeting and discuss it, I would love to attend that meeting.
Yeah, and there has been, even the Supreme Court.
But that was, I mean, I was trying to address that before the fire even hit. You know,
Yeah,
it was like,
Legal sort of latitude now to even do that. For a while there, the county and the city weren't doing anything because they are handcuffed. They felt like there had been rulings that sort of made it possible for them to move encampments. Now there have been some Supreme Court rulings and other movements that have made it more acceptable to address encampments, including increased fire hazard. That is empowering some additional emergency action to keep those encampments from taking. Our county and local officials
so
forward on it.
So, just, cause what I see, from like Topanga Canyon down to I think Sunset, it's no parking from 2 to 4 AM. But then when you get south of Sunset, it's to 5 AM, which prevents more so. And I'm guessing those are there because of the restaurant at Topanga Canyon and PCH, and there's not like a big parking lot or something, but I just, before we reopen it all the way, I'd love to see something, and again, I would be happy to come to any meeting. That's good, we're gonna start to address that.
Yeah, James, sure.
My understanding that it all comes down to parking. It's about the parking. So when you have parking, let's say when there's no restriction on parking, that's where the campers. And this was fought, that one stretch just south of Topanga Canyon Boulevard, Coastal intervened because they try to relax from locking the beaches up from people, and they fought against those no parking signs. And so my understanding is the compromise was that they would put limited no parking so that people would be forced to move to the other side of the street so they couldn't stay there forever. So it's more of a coastal issue and a parking issue as to what that is about.
Understand the history. The reality was, it ended up being a wall of RVs that never moved. They did not move in the middle of the night because they were exact. So we need. I'm asking.
Still the parking signs got put up, and that's when they burned down.
That's where impediment to addressing it. Some also have to do with the preference of our elected officials not wanting to push the unhoused out, feeling like they didn't have anywhere else to go. I think because we're in a high wildfire severity zone and it's a fire risk, I think that sentiment has maybe gone by the wayside when it comes to parking in this area. But we need to test the water. Then we need to ask the supervisor of this. Have to be on the spot right now, but is that something that's on the radar of, working on? Right, but then we also, you need to work with Malibu plus the city of LA, so it's like unincorporated LA.
Like Malibu.
No, right, they're on.
Malibu's 10 PM, 5 AM,
Yeah.
and if anybody parks there, they're gone.
Yeah.
They're gone.
That's good cut resources for the.
But, right,
So we're
right,
looking at
so that is-
financial deficits. Wait.
so there's that issue. But at the same time, you also have a lot of constituent dissatisfaction with the status quo, like you're talking about. They don't
Because
want
the whole
to-
concept of the coastal commission is to allow access, but when you had all of these RVs, that prevented.
It blocked a
anybody
lot
from
of that,
having
right,
access.
right. We actually wrote a letter to that effect, but they didn't care. They thought access for the less, the less the law. So, in any case, all right,
Let's get back to.
let's get back to that. I hear you, Jack. Yeah, I hear you. I got a few questions on the fire.
For CalTrans from Jack, are there no Olympics-related construction or retailing projects planned for PCH which can be shared with us in this? Yeah.
No.
I don't think they're on it. They're only like for the Olympics are asking to do stuff or to do work for the.
So, at this time, no. There are, I think, talk of bringing recycling competition to PCH. That's what I heard, but we don't know. We don't know, how that's gonna pan out. I think the committee is still talking. They're trying to find the right place to, because they're still looking for venues, so. At this time, no, we will be pursuing our paving project. It's got funding, so we will advertise and then, be awarded soon. So that's gonna start.
Katie, I think I emailed you those, but there was a CalTrans where we were smoking. Yeah, on the road, half front of it. I didn't know to that circumstance, but the general population, I assume.
So, yeah, it's against Calvin on on the route, wherever the work is. So if they see that, you can contact me, you can have my contact information with Dell. Send it to with Topanga Town Council, and I know they'll. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, the only thing you could do is stop and ask, but if you don't want to do that, then
If you see the truck, there's a unique number. So get those numbers.
Very good, thank you guys.
A couple of things, so, well, it's appreciative that, there are certain events that work for the hospital. Any of those mentioned, people in the communities, and even in Topanga, are conditioned to avoid the road places. We have like jam up of a farm market that takes me half an hour to get to, and I live 5 miles away. We have businesses that have applied for support and have denied. The Los Angeles County Malibu Construction Fund, most of the businesses applied were all rejected. They our businesses are leveraged to the hills. So they're reducing hours, they're losing their staff, and they can't pay them. And I just, that there needs to be some sort of support for them. And there needs to be a plan. Yeah, I mean, if they can't pay their rent, then they can't pay their mortgages. And this is, and we've had a big shuffle over here in Pine Tree. There's the old center that's, people are joining businesses so they can split the rents. I mean, they're doing their part, they're being responsible as much as they can, but there has to be support from the support back office. There has to be, I mean, I know during the, there was discretionary funds during the original slide, but they're taking out, the SBA gave a loan, and it's a predatory loan, there's compounding interest on the loan. And or half the businesses are. There's gotta be more mindful, and as efficient with yards for the special business, the weekends. There are, I mean, the farmer's market takes me a half hour to get to, and it's under 5 miles from my house.
And have you noticed a decrease in traffic there from like?
Absolutely, it's the increase of all businesses, right?
Yeah.
I don't have any questions when they, and realistically, like our farmer's market is barely make, I can tell. So
I know, like, there, and a lot of people are like, I'd like to.
This is a nice community.
No, this is something we're all concerned about. So on that note, we haven't gotten to the county yet, but this gives Daniel a little bit of time to think about, maybe things that he can suggest to the supervisor. But do you have something you want to?
Well, Katie, you had said that 2 lanes were coming that soon. Okay. I think that's the biggest thing you can take out of this is that 2 lanes be coming back. Let's be very clear. First off, the business interruption fund is our office is setting up doing that. We did it first during the first slide. We are limited on research. I wish we could do more. I'm sorry that it was rejected. We have no direct oversight over what businesses were rejected or which ones received it. We can't have oversight. That would be massive.
Sure, but you have awareness.
Yes,
There are
we had a
that has been rejected.
that is not true. It is not.
But the second round?
That is that is not true.
Yeah,
It is not true. That is absolutely not true. There were. No, I'm telling you that I've seen the form of businesses that were accepted here in a spreadsheet, and we saw the ones in this business. We went to many of them. We went to we went over here. We know Froggy's received it. We know that
Froggy's isn't open. Exactly. Why is it never open? Froggy's is just closed.
so Froggy's received it. We had the excuse me. Topanga Rocks received it. We had Busto and Sons received it. There were a handful of businesses here that received it. Well, I understand that. We had $300,000 to put into that came out of our own discretion. This was taken out of the county's general fund to do it. I apologize if that was not enough. However, our office did that and stood it up independently to assist businesses here. And it was the first time that any kind of discretionary loan grant program had been like that to businesses in the county's history. So I understand it. And there was also a $20 million assistance program that went out before that. I understand that these are things that can only make a small dent to the damage that we have seen done to our business here. We have continued to highlight that at every level. You can ask Katie herself. Often they hear from our staff about what the businesses here are suffering through it. I go to every single chamber meeting, and I've been in contact with them as well. They've done a fantastic job of uplifting your voices during this time and letting us know. I received a handful of letters. Supervisors received a handful of letters from businesses letting them know how much they were suffering in December with regards to that. And we have been, and we have tried hard to have you guys advocate. There is only so much we can do. We do not have authority over State Route 27 to take Canyon Boulevard. That is a highway, it's not a county highway. We have still done all these things to uplift your voice and make sure you are there as much as you can. I wish you could do more, but the good news is that two things back very, very soon.
Very still when.
That she just said
Yeah.
in March.
Later than was projected.
That's not true.
That is not true.
Projected for summer.
Initially, when I was there, December 25, initially, right in the bike, right before.
When we didn't know the details.
Okay, so-
and the specifics of
Okay.
everything.
Longer
And then
longer
there
than
were-
it's supposed.
And then there were rainstorms that washed out to at 2.5 last February.
And what could have been done for the washout, what could have been done on the hillside, but everything that several people were talking about, landscape plants to prevent the storm.
Can't really control nature. I mean, it is unfortunate.
Well, then why would you?
I don't
We're
think I
just-
said
we're just-
nature as an excuse. I said there was.
Hold on, okay, let's all answer,
Yeah,
let's let you answer, and then.
We mentioned about. We mentioned the project life cycle, right? Talked to Roger right before our meetings. And Katie also mentioned about 3 years, but that is not true. In order to begin the project from the beginning to the end of construction, usually takes 7 to 10 years. We have achieved this, a repair, which is, I understand you suffered through this. And that's why we are doing this in such a short period of time. And it's not fast enough for you, but that is, in my opinion, a miracle to build that type of wall in such a short period of time. We're still adjusting our schedule to make it better. So I understand the frustration, but you cannot, say, you got to do more to prevent the slide. We cannot control this. And when we try to install that 84-inch pipe, we dug in there was bedrock. We were really through bedrock. We could, so that has to be changed. So we don't know what's underground. You drill and try to find out, but when you actually dig through, if the condition is different, then we have to adapt. So there was the initial assessment that I gave you to complete it last winter. I know I said that.
Right.
But there were adjustments were made because of other slides that was happening. So it is not something that we try not to do it, but hillside came down, so we have to be able to. So please be patient with us. We are doing everything that we can. I am here. I should be home. So what I'm saying is this. Our team has been working very hard. Maintenance crew's been out there during the rain, clearing up the slide. So try to be gentle with us because we are doing our best. We really are.
Okay, I appreciate you doing that. You have to understand this community here that.
Understood.
So on that note, so let me intervene here for a second just to make a comment to sort of bring it all home. So first of all, I do want to say the businesses have been through hell and are not out of hell. It's nobody's fault. At the same time, it's everybody's responsibility to try to help our struggling businesses. So I plan after this meeting to reach out and see if there's anything we can do to maybe get another fund going, private fundraising, I don't know. Try something, anything to try to help the business because they're suffering through no one's fault. You guys have moved heaven and earth, literally, with what you've been doing. So thank you. And I feel like it's excellent news that you're going to be done. In my opinion, you're finishing faster than I ever dreamed possible. So thank you. And I do want to hear from Sharif about those piles. But I do want to say, I also want to thank Supervisor for doing a ton, like several rounds of funding to cut out the business. It does seem like they need more. It's not the supervisor's job. She's not doing anything wrong. She's done so much right. But if there's anything more that could be done, let us know. We would love to help.
Yeah, let me touch on a few more things too. 'Cause we know typically chambers. I work with so many chambers in our district that back in December, when I was getting calls from business owners here for suffering, I knocked on the door of all of those chambers and said, I need you guys to do a push in all of these letters to send people to Topanga. Uplift the shop local campaign. There are business owners here. That program is still open, by the way. So if there are businesses here who would like to put their name on that portal, there's a gift card program and there's still funding it right now.
Are you guys aware?
Yes, where if you get $20, if you buy a $20 gift card, for example, the folks who buy that can free $10 one to go spend at 4 shops. It's only valid at shops that are that have been impacted by fires and by road conditions. Topanga is one of those.
But you have to register.
Cafe Mimosas on there right now. I know that the leather of the Topanga outlet post is on there right now. There are a few other handfuls like water lily just got added to it as well. So please register for that too. I understand it's not enough. Their concerns are very valid. Not everybody's upset. I want to highlight that we're doing what we can as a government office. And but the fact of the matter is, until things are back to some sense of policy here, we're not going to see a whole lot of people coming from the west side. I know Valley people spend money here, but I can't just here over the weekend doing that. And but folks from the west side, once we get those lanes back to once we get that road back to lane, we're going to see a sense of normalcy hopefully return back to. And I appreciate CalTrans for being good partners. We have, trust me, we have bothered up to the point of exhaustion, I'm sure. And they've been very patient with us, and we appreciate the relationship we have there. I'll take down your information before I leave, and we'll see what we can do. And I will. I'm always happy to advocate on behalf of our businesses here, especially the supervisor has. She loves us a lot. It's not only our largest lending corporation in our district, but she has a soft spot. And she's up here all the time. She's gone to that farmer's market times they talk about. So anything we can do to be of assistance, I'm happy to take any feedback back to her. And advocate for more funding.
Excellent. Thank you, Kim. Thank you so much. All right, so a couple things. I want to just have some closing. Thank you for bringing that up. That was an important point. It's uncomfortable, and I like the way that was addressed. Thank you. Very good. Okay. So I want to ask a couple questions just for CalTrans and then wrap that up and move on to a very important issue, which is the events and facilities ordinance. We have somebody online to answer questions on that, and it's very important the community know about it because comments are due on the secret portion by March 10th. So quick question for CalTrans. I've been dying to ask Sharif, what was it that enabled you, like, why is it that now you're able to open that second lane that's been closed? What is it? The piles were in place, or how did you get it to a level of being supported where you feel comfortable opening the second lane?
Thank you, everyone. So what happened in the past months, the original design we had for this road was essentially piles that are 65 to 67 feet deep. These piles will have to be drilled down. We have to support it with anchors in the ground, and that's it. Then we cover it with wood legging, what we call them. The rocks, like everybody said, we hit bedrock that made drilling in these essentially impossible. So based on the new schedule we had, if we would have done that, this would have pushed the project all the way another 6 to 8 months. It would have been end of summer before we could open it. So in the past, maybe month or 3 weeks, we put our teams together. We essentially changed the design completely. We kept elements from the original design. We are going to shorten the piles so we don't have to drill all the way down 65 feet. We're going to drill only 45, which is enough to support, but we are going to add another retaining wall behind the retaining wall. That's essentially what's happening. So as of now, we put enough piles to support opening 2 lanes. We are past the pipe area in the south part and the north part. We did the pipes there. We have a gap in the middle that still doesn't have But again, because and that's something, by the way, we keep saying in all our meetings, we feel for the community here, as hard as it might be to believe for you guys, but we feel for it. We say that the businesses here are suffering and we feel it. And that's why we changed this design. We decided, no, we're not gonna push this wall until end of summer. So that's what we did. Once we could find enough support of these piles in the south and north part, once we have enough piles to support opening the white area in the middle, this can handle opening 2 lanes without being a safety concern. While we are building the remaining piles, we're gonna do that. It's gonna be tight, it's gonna be narrow, it's gonna be tough, but we are gonna do it so we can give you guys back 1 lane, so now we can have both lanes. That's essentially what's going on.
Thank you. Very interesting.
And hitting the bedrock early is a good thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Because that means you don't have to drill down further. So shortening the piles is not a bad thing, because we have enough support with these.
Right, like it's a stronger natural foundation.
Correct.
GRU wall that Katie spoke of, it's gonna be as if like another slope that we're gonna put behind the wall that's gonna hold the whole wall from anything. So it's gonna be as strong as the original design, no difference.
All right, any other final questions before we move on?
Can I just interrupt you maybe for 1 second? If anybody has a white Tesla that's parked next door, like kind of in front of the bistro, it's gonna be towed because they're blocking 2 cars. I mean, that part. Okay.
Thank you so much.
What was she asking?
A Tesla, somebody parked a white Tesla.
One quick comment, I would have to say that CalTrans is not perfect, but the fact that they've been here so many times over the past couple of years. 4 years ago, 5 years ago, you wouldn't have seen it. So they're not perfect, but I do believe they have done a good job.
May I have your attention, please? The library will be closing in 30 minutes.
Thank you to CalTrans. I'm so sorry
Thank you.
that I'm going to end this on a bad note.
Oh, no.
Su atención, por
But,
favor. La biblioteca cerrará en 30 minutos. Las computadoras se apagarán en 15 minutos. Si desea aplicar para una tarjeta de la biblioteca, favor de hacerlo en este momento. Gracias.
okay, sorry, I did just receive word from our construction crews that, the forecast for the morning doesn't look great. So, so the road is it's just not gonna reopen at 5 a.m. It's gonna stay closed through the morning commute. Reopening will be determined. It sounds like our geotech crews will be able to go out there in the morning and reassess, and I'll keep you posted as soon as I know more. But when you leave tonight, you'll probably say it'll say it'll close at 5 a.m., but it's just not.
Okay, so then that prompts this last question, then we move on. But then it was open.
It was open. I drove up.
It's gonna be open till midnight, right?
It's
And at
open
5
till
a.m.,
midnight.
it's not gonna reopen.
Yeah, it'll. I don't know time.
Okay, I'm trying to put a time on that.
The weather goes, the weather alert was through 4:30 p.m., but my phone says it's like, so I don't.
See, I
It's
knew.
supposed to rain for 4
I knew it.
hours, it starts from 6 in the morning till noon.
All right, so this is something that's come up a lot, I just wanna ask it now, the preemptive closure, okay? So that's sort of a little bit, is this something you're gonna do in the future, or is it only because of the pile situation? Like, in general, I understand your safety measure, but, the county is not closing to enough, thank God. But is this something you're gonna do in the future? People don't love it, they don't love it.
I believe our goal is to not have to do this work. So we're like, that's the goal of this work, is to reinforce.
So can I say
Yeah,
something?
go for it.
So what's going on now is because of the bird scars that happened, there is now a geotech requirement that whenever there is event 4 inch, I believe, we have to close because there's a high chance of slides, and it have been happening. Like every time we close, actually, there has been some kind of slide that we have to clean after, and they put that in good to allow comfort. So now once that the native plantation goes, and the burn scars effect is kind of, out of the picture. I believe this is not gonna be required anymore. It's gonna be like normal business as usual of Topanga. But when is this gonna happen? I'm not sure. We have our geotech experts online if somebody wants to chime in.
There's enough reinforcement we can tolerate for them.
Without the burn scars, yes, it should be okay, yeah. With the burn scars, once the plantation goes, yeah. The area that we are building the walls and stuff, this should be good. We are not worried about slide state. That's why we put the walls. But it's a long stretch and we don't have walls anymore.
Got it. All right.
I do check with your CalTrans on it.
Awesome. Fantastic. Thank you, CalTrans. All right, now we're going to talk ordinance.
I'll just touch on that our planning deputy is listening online too, so if anyone then wants to chime in there, welcome to it.
Okay, Dylan. All right, so, but again, thank you, CalTrans. Thank you, John, SCE, ULM. Thank you so much for coming tonight. Wealth of information. This was really worth everybody's time. I'm sure people are kicking themselves who couldn't make it, but we're going to put that video online so your words live infinitely. All right. All right, so on to the next issue. As many have heard, and I published in the newsletter that I know you all read verbatim, there's an events and facility ordinance coming down the pipe. It's going to be applied to all of LA County, including the Santa Monica Mountains. As it stands now, we actually do have a kind of events facility sort of allowance in the north area. I plan to circulate that in the newsletter that I put out by March 1st. I will get this put out kind of get all this info out to you so you can see what it currently exists. But what the new ordinance is likely or trying to do is to kind of harmonize the event and facility allowance between the north area, which is everywhere basically north of the community house, and the LCP area, which is actually half of the community house down to the beach. We don't even have a draft to look at the moment, so I can't exactly tell you what will be in it, but a couple of highlights or high points, and Roger and Dylan and Daniel can chime in. But one of the things is they're looking to allow certain types of businesses or entity structures to do some level of events on their property if they occupy 10 acres or more. The exact designation of if maybe if they're in an ag area, they're allowed to do it, or in some other sort of recreational R&R type designation in the coastal area, that still has to be hammered out. But they're not planning to writ large give event and facilities permission to any residential facility. You have to meet a certain list of criteria, and it's going to be modeled on what area. I want to circulate that to you so that you have something concrete to look at, not just my recollection out loud. But I want to, at this point, give Dylan a chance to chime in because he will have some other highlights that you'll want to know about of what's being planned for this event and facilities ordinance and how it's going to impact Topanga specifically. So Dylan, if you're still with us, did you want to hop online and ask you comments?
Sure. Thanks, Carrie. I'm Dylan Satig, everybody's Supervisor, Horvath Regional Planning Deputy. So I just wanted to emphasize a couple points about the events ordinance. This ordinance is something that the county is adding to our sort of county-wide base level zoning ordinance. So there's going to be a lot of provisions that are discussed and brought up as part of this ordinance that maybe aren't applicable within our Santa Monica Mountains area because we have these additional and in many ways more restrictive events related regulations that are already in place. So I think that's just going to be something to pay attention to and note throughout this whole process. In light of some of the comments that they have received so far about the comment period for this notice of preparation, which is just kind of the first step of what's going to be a very involved and very hopefully community engagement driven ordinance development process. Planning is extending the comment day period until March 9th now. That gives people a little bit more time. Right now, for a notice of preparation, public comment period, really, they're seeking public comments that are about what types of potential environmental impacts should be analyzed as part of the ordinance. And that helps shape the CEQA analysis that's going on. So that's really what sort of the focus of the comments could and should be right now. We don't have to get into sort of like, some of the specifics around what are the actual regulations around events ordinance, but it's really what are the potential environmental impacts that should be studied. So I think those are the things I want to emphasize and just encourage people to provide any and all comments that they want, even beyond those, to planning staff as early as possible so they can start considering those and incorporating those into their review and analysis. Thanks.
All right, Dylan, quick thing. I thought I had it written down as March 10th. You're saying March 9th?
That's what I thought that Lauren had
I
said.
go with March 9th. Go with the earlier. I don't want to get the wrong date. For some reason I had March 10th. Okay, correct. March 9th. And yeah, you got that point about, so the first round of comments, this is going to happen over a period of many months, but they break it into phases. And the first phase is the sort of CEQA environmental phase. So when you make your comments, they're saying they want them to be oriented because this is going basically to CEQA and that sort of state level review. So if you make comments like, oh, I just don't like them, like that won't be relevant. You just, think, well, the lighting or noise, those could have environmental aspects. So you could talk about that. Well, like that. I would also encourage you to make the CEQA comments, even if it's not your prime concern, because that's where people have the most legal heft to be able to oppose an ordinance or legally intervene if it goes some way that you don't like. You have the most leverage with CEQA environmental type, against filings, if you will. So I'm not encouraging that, but I'm just saying the CEQA is probably where you have the chance to really stop something from happening. So be sure to make those comments if you're concerned about event facilities going up around that you're not likely to respond. That said, at the same time, I think people who have event facilities in the canyon who would like more clarity and validity around what they're currently doing or operating, I think this is a good opportunity for them as well. So they should be paying attention to the process too. Roger, do you have any comments?
No, except to say that this is a big deal. Everybody is aware. I don't need it. And this is a big deal. This event, there are a number of organizations that are going to comment on it. And they are going to comment on it. The Topanga Town Council, of course, will make their comments. Topanga Chamber of Commerce is going to make comments. The Topanga Association for Scenic Community will be making comments. Las Virgenes Homeowners Federation also will be making comments on it. It's something that we got to watch very carefully because we could end up with something that none of us really would want. That's all I can say about it right now. So we got to watch it real closely. And I think that one of the things that Todd and I have done and continue to do each weekend is we send out an email to right now about 280 people receive it. So if you want to get on that email list and you're not on it, email at emoon@gmail.com. And I'll put you on the list because we'll be commenting quite a bit on a whole bunch of stuff. So that's all I have to say right now. And Dylan, hi.
Hey, Roger.
And then Dylan, are you able in the chat to put the DRP email for people to send their CEQA comments?
Right.
Yes.
Sorry, thank you, because I'm not sitting in front of a computer, otherwise I would do it. Awesome. All right, so people, that's the address that Dylan's going to be putting into the chat. Is the address that you can send your event facility CEQA environmental comments to by March 9th. And then Roger's email, memoon@gmail.com, is to receive community type mailings related to events,
Yeah.
planning, building, development. Yeah, it's the whole nine. Roads, Roger's the road guy, the road expert,
Can you
Hoover, whatever you want to call it.
Roger's email?
It's in the
Yeah.
chat.
In the email he sends out Sunday, though, could you put the link in there?
Don't point your finger at me.
Yeah. Can you put the DRP email so people send it to you?
Yeah. We did that, didn't we do that already
I
once?
think we did. We'll take
Okay,
that.
we'll
Yeah,
do it again.
highlight it, put it in yellow.
Yeah.
This law is already in place. Why don't you- Why is it? so-
That's a great question. Dylan, can you answer that? What Elisa's saying? She's like, no, this supposedly, this kind of event facilities allowance cup, CUP, is in effect in the north area, but it's very rarely utilized or enforced. So, but that being said, so why is that? And why do you feel like it will be helpful to then impose it, not really utilized, not really enforced plan in the north area in the LCP area?
Got it. So just to clarify, because it's a little hard to hear sometimes, the microphone in the room, the question is about what's the difference in enforcement between the coastal area and the north area?
Like that. But why didn't we know? None of us really knew about that this existed. I mean, how many of these do you even have a CUP for or an allowance for in the north area? How many entities have a facility or event
Quite a few.
CUP? They actually have official ones?
In the north area, there's been violations like,
We know there have been violations, but
Yeah.
how many of them have a CUP or an official designation? How many of them have gone through the process?
oh, I don't know that.
That's what I'm
Yeah, I can try to ask staff to run like the numbers on that to compile like a list of existing facilities. I think that's also one of the things that is like kind of a perfect comment to bring up during a CEQA process. That type of information, they should be analyzing as sort of like part of the baseline conditions within a CEQA analysis, so that document will really provide us a lot of answers. But that said, I can try to get some of that information before the document's
If you
published.
wish to check out any materials, please do so at this time. Thank you.
All right, so one other question on that. This
Atención, por favor. La biblioteca
is
cerrará
behind
en
with
15
the
minutos.
STRs, the short-term
Desea
rentals.
sacar
Well,
algún material.
we think,
Por favor, de hacerlo en este momento.
sorry, Dylan, I'm shut up. It's
Oh, okay. All right, go ahead. Sorry.
I'm back, see? Okay, but, it's citizen behind with the STRs, this idea of the baseline conditions, because one of the things that concerns me and should concern you too, Roger. If you're taking as a given, you have a lot of people doing this who are doing it under the radar or technically illegally. They're doing it without official permission. So noting that we do have maybe 6, 10, 20 facilities doing this under the radar, are we essentially giving them de facto permission by saying it operates here, so we should be maintaining this level of activity that's basically illicit anyway?
No, that's more of a question of what's the environmental impact of this document. When we decide on whether or not we're actually going to adopt certain regulations or not, certainly environmental impact's one of the factors, but it's not the only factor that's being considered. So if we say, that's just too many, then that's something that we can change when we actually adopt the ordinance. Whether or not there's environmental impact, that's just a narrow CEQA question.
I caveat it, and I'd be careful to establish if there are a lot, because it could come back to that baseline that we don't want. So, okay, that's good. Thank you for clarifying that. All right, so does anyone else have questions about? Go ahead.
Should we, Dylan, Todd, it's good to see you. Should we, in our responses, note anything about upholding compliance and enforcement through LA County, not just for enforcement, but levels of accountability? Because I was on a workshop call, and that became a very common topic of concern by those that were on those calls. Should we also note that in our responses? Because we know right now that LA County is often under-resourced. So it's very hard to uphold compliance standards, which then becomes complaint-based, which only puts community against a community.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think definitely any comments you have, bring them up. I would say right now is the time to most specifically highlight the environmental comments. So there'll be more opportunities in the future to sort of talk about the enforcement process and procedures later on and compliance procedures. But if you have them, might as well bring them up now as well, just so staff and everybody involved can start to think about that. I will say Supervisor Horvath at the Regional Planning Department's budget presentation just last week, did bring up the topic of code enforcement in the Santa Monica Mountains. Director Bodak from the Regional Planning Department, stated that for the first time in a while, they don't have any staff vacancies in that section in the department. So hopefully we're seeing, we'll begin to see, some improved outcomes related to code enforcement from the Regional Planning Department. So it's a priority for the supervisor, and she asked it during that budget presentation. So we're hoping to see some more results there. Jenna.
Super encouraging.
Thank you, Joe.
That's good. Good intel. Very good to hear that. A, that there are no vacancies, and B, that the supervisor specifically asked about that because of concern. So that's very encouraging. Excellent. Okay, so I want to make sure if anyone has any more questions for Dylan, or otherwise we'll get the update from the county.
Nice.
Daniel's desperate to avoid his update.
Oh, no, I just thought I had that.
That was Neil Shaw. Neil Shaw.
Let us know how the audio is tonight. Okay, Daniel. I think that.
Hello. Hello. The audio is subnominal. Also, I think we need to get a managed switch in there so we don't lose bandwidth on our internet connection. But we can deal with that another time. My question for Dylan is who are the sponsors of this proposed ordinance, and why are they bringing it forward now?
So the ordinance is being brought forward by the Department of Regional Planning. It's the department kind of works with all 5 county supervisors' office to prioritize what their one policy team, is going to be working on which specific ordinances. So there's interest from enough other supervisors to bring forward an event ordinance like this. As sort of Carrie and others and Roger has mentioned, like we have some events related regulations in the Santa Monica Mountains, but in a lot of other parts of the county, they do not. So it's sort of been a gaping hole in terms of the regulatory environment for a lot of other parts of our county. And there's a lot of community interest countywide, in our unincorporated areas countywide, in having some sort of permitting process for event facilities and special events so that they can be regulated and sort of better managed. So that's something that we're balancing, the priorities of all 5 county supervisors with this ordinance, which is countywide. So hopefully that helps. Neil.
Excellent. Really, really good info, Dylan. I so appreciate your coming on tonight. You've contributed quite a bit. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. Anybody else? Well, then I'm going to pass the baton. Daniel, for the summary.
Sometimes working.
Just don't break out into the song.
No singing for me tonight. For those of you who are wondering who this handsome, fiery Latino is, my name is Daniel Vicente. I'm here on behalf of LA County Supervisor Lindsay Horvath. Before I jump into updates, let me go ahead and just pass it over to my colleague JC Carter so she can introduce herself.
Hi, nice to meet you all. I've met a few of you in the room, and if I haven't yet, my name is JC. I'm on Supervisor Horvath's team. I'm an emergency management liaison, so if you've met Sophia and Daniel's worked a little bit on this as well, support them there. I also support constituent casework in the office, specifically for the Santa Monica Mountains area. So looking forward to meeting all of you eventually. My background is I came from city government, so I've been in local government for quite a while. But yeah, and being here and looking forward to joining more. Yeah.
Yeah, she is immersing herself in community to get familiarized with Topanga and Malibu and all of those here. So I am our Topanga deputy based out of the Hollywood office, which is now moved in case you didn't get the memo a few months ago. We are now moved, so we are on at 7 Hills Road, 4 Road. right next to the county one-stop center. Let me go ahead and jump into updates here. So first off, I want to give a shout out to TSEP here for all the work that they have done with the task force, helping to get the new evacuation guides out. I think some of you should have received those in their mailbox. That has been years and years, even before our time in the making. So really happy to see that. Thank TSEP for all the work that they put into that.
People not already, show of hands.
Fantastic. Well, if you haven't received it yet, you will be. So, all right. So first update we have here at the February 3rd meeting, the Board of Supervisors unanimously approved a motion by Supervisors Horvath and Barker to strengthen oversight and accountability as the county even launched our new Department of Public Service and Housing. I also have the first official flyers that our new county department has right here, so please take one before you leave. The motion follows years of documented deficiencies in contract monitoring and financial oversight under LASA, included repeated audit findings that identified lapses in accountability and increased risk or an increase of risk of loss or misuse funds. The motion directs HSH, which officially launched January 1st, to establish rigorous contract issuance, monitoring, and oversight protocols in coordination with the auditor and controller, and report back to the board here over the next couple of weeks on how these safeguards will be implemented before contracts are executed the next fiscal year. So as this department launches, we are making sure that every contract, every dollar, and every outcome withstands scrutiny. The LA County Board of Supervisors, through Supervisor Horvath's motion, directing county councils to monitor the implementation of the president's executive order, which seeks to preempt and replace state and local permitting and approval processes for rebuilding homes and businesses. The Trump administration has delayed critical disaster funding. That thousands of Angelenos across Los Angeles County need to move forward, while Supervisor Horvath has been on the ground for months.
I will be closing in 5 minutes. Please start making your way to the front of the building to exit. Thank you.
We're not leaving.
Por favor. La biblioteca cerrará en 5 minutos. Por favor, comience a dirigirse hacia el frente del edificio para salir. Gracias.
Supervisor Horvath has been on the ground for months, hearing directly from fire survivors, small business owners, and workers looking to rebuild. Supervisor Horvath's motion directs County Council in coordination with the Department of Public Works, Regional Planning, and the Office of Emergency Management to monitor the implementation of the President's executive order, to provide updates to the board as needed, authorize county in litigation or amicus actions to defend the county's local land use and permitting authority, and direct the Office of Emergency Management to report back within 30 days, so here really soon, on how many individuals and entities receiving federal disaster relief funds would be subject to the executive order's provisions. The board unanimously approved, I may have highlighted this one last month too, but the Board of Supervisors approved the Supervisor Horvath's motion to initiate ICE-free zones within LA County. The motion follows federal immigration enforcement actions conducted at LA County parks towards the end of last year. If adopted by the board, the proposed ordinance would prohibit county-owned and county-controlled property being used for unauthorized civil law enforcement activities, require clear signage on county properties, and establish a permit process for civil enforcement operations, and to preserve lawful criminal law enforcement and the execution of valid judicial warrants. Next thing on my list is that our office then hosted after last meeting, hosted an emergency preparedness side of our district, and modeling a lot of what we've learned here in Topanga, kind of taking that all over the district. So appreciate the work for our East LA team on that one. It was a really successful event. And the board advanced creation of a disaster recovery rebuild authority. So Supervisor Horvath and Barker's motion to establish a disaster recovery rebuild authority for the unincorporated Santa Monica Mountain and Altadena The action marks an important milestone in the county's long-term rebuilding and recovery from the 2025 fires. The motion directs county leadership to return a framework for standing up the disaster recovery rebuild authority, including the launch plan, staffing and resources, needs, and comprehensive financial strategy. It also advances continued development of an infrastructure plan, infrastructure master plan for fire impacted areas, strengthens disaster recovery coordination with the chief executive office, and bolsters permitting capacity to keep rebuilding moving efficiently in the unincorporated Santa Monica. And then finally, the Los Angeles County's emergency rent relief program has reopened. That reopened on February 9th at 9 a.m. and it will be closing Wednesday, March 11th. Yeah. I have some flyers here for that in English in front and Spanish on the back. These are for folks who have been fire impacted and need help catch up with rent or keeping them from falling behind, or for folks who have been impacted by ICE enforcement actions that have taken place in the county as well. So that is open till March, what did I say, 9th, 10th, 11th, sorry, March 11th, 4:59 p.m. Flyers are right here. Please pass that information around to folks you know who may need some help. But we don't want them to fall behind. And what this does is it gets money into the pockets of the landlord so that they don't have to evict them. We don't need any people facing housing insecurity and being evicted. So please spread the word about that program, and I'm happy to take any questions for our office if you have.
How does a lot of this information get to the general populace of Topanga?
Sign up for our newsletter. That is the best recommendation I have for you. We send it out once a week. Unless there is an active fire, then we were sending those out about 3 times a day during the top state fire. But we will not bug you more than that. We only send it out on Saturdays. You can head to Lindsay. That's Lindsay with an EY. And just scroll all the way down to the bottom of the page. You can sign up right there. We only send it out once a week.
And do we have that?
I'll leave put it in the chat so people can.
LindsayHorvath.LAcounty.gov. Or you can check out our social media at Lindsay Horvath on Instagram, as well as Twitter and Facebook.
And you're pretty into a lot of it, not all of it. So
Yeah, right.
yeah, it's good to have. Definitely, I recommend it.
And I will pass it over to my state colleague.
All right, we're gonna check and see if we have any state updates. Otherwise, we will be soon adjourning. I did want to make a reminder or let people know on March 11th, so a week before our next town council meeting, there is a fire
portal application expires on March 11th.
It's on March 11th is a very momentous day. There's also a fire shop for fire safeguarding in your area, appropriate for Topanga, and it's being led by the Metropolitan Water District, and we're one of the co-sponsors. So I encourage you to come, and they are springing for dinner. So there will be free dinner next week, 6 o'clock to 8 p.m. So come here, learn about fire safeguarding, eat a free meal, hang out with some of your favorite Topangans, and have a good time. All right.
Are we good? I think we're good. Thank you to my colleagues. Thank you, Dylan. Thank you, JC.
All right, close this out. All right, we are adjourning meeting. Thank you, everybody, for coming. See you, March.
Well, we can talk.